1999, was one of 2017's Persons of the Year, and could verifiably kick my ass. Terry Crews is here.
Ain't gonna happen.
Okay, please, thank you. Nah, I'm thrilled, man. I got to interview you on the radio a while back, and I remember we were all sort of taken aback. And we always thought you were a funny guy, great actor, knew you were an athlete. I think we were all surprised by how easy to relate to that you were, and how personal you were. And on researching you more, I just saw like that sort of seems to be your MO, like pure honesty with everyone. Am I wrong in thinking that?
No, you're not wrong, man. You're not wrong. I used to be another person, you know. It's kind of wild. I suffered from that cognitive dissonance thing where, you know, you have two different opposing beliefs in your brain at the same time. And I was one way in front of everybody else and then another way somewhere else. And, you know, I went to rehab, man. I went to a lot of therapy and finally became one person. And, dude, it's so refreshing. You're like, wow, this is like, where has this been all my life? Like, once I discovered that, and it was about 10 years ago, but once you get into that and you realize, man, I am one guy, I mean what I say, I'm pretty much, you know, forthwith about who I am and what I've been through, man, it's the most refreshing place to be, dude. There's no going back for me.
I think a lot of people probably could relate to this more than they think they can, because if you really look at your story, and again, you've been nothing but forthright about it, you were kind of living a double life. Your wife didn't know who you were completely. And I think this happens in relationships a lot. On the night you decided to let it all out, why that night? Like, why was you like, enough is enough, I'm drawing the line right now?
Well, I mean, the thing was, man, when it was so wild. My wife asked me this one question, and it was like a trigger. She was like, what is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews?
Like, and you've been together at the time, what, like 18 years?
We've already been together 20 years.
Right.
But the deal is, man, is that, you know, this is the thing with this masculinity thing. The deal is you don't show pain, you don't show weakness, you don't show any bit of vulnerability. And the problem with that is that you can never really be intimate with anybody, because intimacy is when you show all that stuff. But if you never do, it never goes there. And this is why I literally look at one of the reasons why, it's probably a small part of it, but one of the reasons why the divorce rate is at 50%. Because you look at it, because once they find out who you really are, it's like, okay, I'm done. And
the anger's too high at that point. The betrayal's too high. And your wife went through that.
Yes, yeah. She was like, I'm gone.
But you guys just worked through it.
I talked about my, you know, addiction to pornography and the whole thing. And once I needed help for that. And once I realized that I needed to change, like, there was a moment, because, you know, every man in his life at one time or another is a fool, a victim, or a king. And when you're a fool, you do the craziest stuff. You know what I mean? And guys, we operate off pride. So, you know, if somebody's like, I bet you won't do that, you're like, I bet you I will. And it's usually a very foolish thing. And then when you mess up your life, you turn around and you become the victim. Now all of a sudden it's like, man, it was because I was black. It was because this is where I was raised. It was because of you and you and you. And look at my circumstances. And this is the thing: as a victim, you never run out of excuses. Like, the table's always
What was yours?
wrong.
What was your excuse to your wife?
Oh man, look. First of all, I found reasons to blame her. I found ways like, you know what? It was because, you know, you didn't give me enough this, or you didn't do enough. So I felt like I needed. And let me tell you, I realized Terry Crews, felt that just because I was a man, I was more valuable than my wife.
How long did it take to get her back?
Oh my God, years, bro.
Oh, it was years.
Wait, first of all, you gotta understand, you know, she was gone, but then she's like, okay, well, let me look at you. And I went right into rehab, right into the whole thing, but there was always, you know, it's an earning process. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing. Our culture right now is all about, I said I'm sorry.
It's so true.
Think about it.
What do you want?
Think about it.
I said sorry.
I said I'm sorry. You know?
But aren't there always people, particularly in Hollywood, when someone makes a mistake, it feels like there's always someone there to be like, let's just blow right past this, let's avoid it, we'll move on, that the media will forget. It's an easy way to go, and really for long-term forgiveness, whether it's with your wife or in a relationship,
right,
you're almost always better off copping.
But see, but this is the thing too. And see, most of this is copping is a deal where people got caught. That's caughting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not really copying. Right. Some people got caught.
You volunteered it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Hollywood doesn't care if you lose your family. They just don't care. All right, you know, if I've been divorced, they'd be like, oh yeah, we'll just get you another wife. We'll set you up over here. It'll make it look good. You get you another movie. In fact, you have 3 movies now because you don't have to worry about going home. But my thing was, wait a minute, man. Who do I want to be? What kind of man do I want to be? What good is it if you have the hit show, you have all the hype, you're everything, and you're Bill Cosby? You understand what I'm saying? What is that? And let me tell you, man, it's good news. I'm here to give good news to people because this is not a depressing thing. I'm here to say that now, in this day and age, we don't have to do that anymore. This is why I'm leading by example. I tell my story. I don't tell anybody else's story. I'm telling my story to let you know it doesn't have to end up like that. It's a thing where you can share it. You can be it. You know, and I have a lot of guys like, man, he weak, he a punk, because you're vulnerable. But see, this is the thing.
Did it get even worse after you come out and say that you've had someone sexually assault you?
Oh my God. See, when that happened, it was like, oh man, how in the world you gonna let somebody do this?
Well, I heard that. I heard the Terry Crews. No one could go grab Terry Crews' junk. They should die.
Hey man, First of all, if I just come up and hit you in the face, did you let me do it? No.
Right.
You understand what I mean? That's the mentality and the thinking. But this is the thing about shaming the victim. You know, this is how we deal with these things because, first of all, they're too heinous. They're too heinous to think about. You know what I mean? You don't even want to talk about it because you're like, oh, my mind, you know, my God, somebody would do something like that. So, let's bring it out. But I'm here to say, let's talk about it. Because when you talk about it, you can think it through and you can make it work. And now, as a man, new masculinity says, we can talk about this thing.
Now, speaking of new masculinity, you're in town doing something cool with Old Spice. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been representing Old Spice for 8 years, and we did a thing on Facebook Live called, it was a Contemporary campaign, where we basically did 80 tasks in 80 minutes, and the internet was telling me what to do. I mean, I was like, you know, making guacamole, and I was folding fitted sheets, and I was learning how to give a compliment.
Was that hard for you?
Oh, that was great. No,
I see you being a complimentary guy.
I tell you, I was loving it because this is the deal. It was like men, more than anybody else, face this thing of being put in boxes.
Well, and I don't think it allows you to be. It's hard for us to be good to women when we're in that box ourselves.
Oh my God.
That's what I like about what you do, because your promoting of modern masculinity is essentially what allows us to be compadres with women in this entire Me Too thing.
That's right. That's right.
Like, one is kind of impossible without the other.
Well, I had to show, listen, first of all, what happened to me, it was because the women came forward. I was sitting there like, oh my God, this happened to me. You gotta understand, like when I say PTSD, I was fine. I was like, I'm gonna let it go, I'm good. And then all of a sudden these ladies started coming forward about all their stories. And I was sitting there like, man, and this happened to me, this is messed up. And then what happened was I was looking at my social media and all these guys were calling them hoes and they were dogging them out. They were like, they're just opportunists. These chicks want a payday. I was like, you know that's not right. I knew, I've been in the NFL, I've been in entertainment, and listen, that stuff goes on. And then when it happened to me, I could not, I was sat there and I put 16 tweets. And my whole thing was just to support the ladies who came forward. That's all it was. It wasn't about me at all. But then when I turned my phone off and turned it back on, the world changed. I
gotta be honest, I'm not a big like organized religion or cult guy, but if you want to start something, I'll join the congregation. I'm here for Terry Crews. But listen, before I let you get out of here, we have a little thing we like to do on the show.
Okay.
Because of my love of music, I know you love music.
I love it.
It's time for Digging in the Crates.
Uh-oh.
All right, Terry, no matter what city I'm in, first thing I do is go on Google Maps, look up a record store, and go dig. So what we try to do with our guests is show them something that they might have an interest in the crates. So we have a lot of stuff here, but I picked out a few things that I thought you could have something to say something about. This little number right here.
I'm about to bow down every time I look at the cover. First of all, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back changed my life forever, forever.
How?
I mean, first of all, PE, you know, they woke so many people up to what we could do. Like, before it was like, I hope I could go and ask these people to give us something. PE was like, no, you do it. You understand what I mean? And you were like, wait a minute, we have the power. We can do it. And when you hear that voice, it's like bass, and you're like, my God! Chuck D was like everybody's parent. You know what I'm saying? He was giving you advice, or your big brother that was telling you you could do it.
Yeah.
So
Before everyone woke up,
so powerful.
Chuck D and Public Enemy were already awake.
Straight woke.
Yeah, they were woke a long time ago.
Now I got a story about this.
Kendrick Lamar, damn.
Kendrick Lamar. First of all, you got to understand, years ago, like 2004, BET Awards, I'm walking, and probably a little later than that, but I'm walking with my wife and the whole thing, and I see this little kid in a hat and the whole deal. I'm like, oh my God. I said, I hit my wife, I'm Becky, that's Kendrick Lamar. Now he had a mixtape out, Section 80. And I said, this dude is the future of hip hop. And now he was like, me? He was like, you know me? I said, bruh, I can't, I work out to you. And I said, you are the future. And
how did you already know him? Who would put you on to Section 80?
No, it was just, I always listen to new music. I'm always on it. And I said, and my wife was like, okay, leave the boy alone. But
you're getting weird, Terry.
Yeah, because he was small, and she was like, you're all over him, like leave him alone. But I was like, no, you got to understand, this dude, his style, everything. And then, let me tell you, what happened was, even last year, he called me up, and we did the These Walls video.
Maybe my favorite song on To Pimp a Butterfly.
Amazing. I mean, and he said, man, I remember when you told me that I was going to be the it thing. And he said, I never forgot that, because no one knew who I was at the time. And I was like, wow. It just made it more special. And to see him now on top of the game. Like,
you think one day he could be the best ever?
I think he's on pace. He's on pace to be the best ever.
Listen, I say it all the time. I know.
Yes.
Hey, Terry, thank you, man. This has been a pleasure. Do you have, before I let you go, anything you want to plug and talk about?
Oh, man, again, 80 years of Old Spice, and I've been doing this campaign for 8 years. Check it out. You can get it anywhere right now. Limited edition.
Listen, as long as you want to come by, we will stay open late. Terry Crews, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 80 years with Old Spice. Thank you so much, man. Yes, and now hitting our stage, performing his brand new record, The Hustle, off his new album, Not For Sale, one of Harlem's finest and my favorites. Make some noise for Smoke DZA, Levy Gray, and Bodega Bam!
Happy early 420.